Hi everyone, Matt here, and today we are continuing on with HiveSwap FriendSim. When we last left off, we had started volume 17. Yes. And we did Daria's route. And now we are going Nikki's route. Jesus. Dim lights, the din of a roaring crowd, and the smell of horribly overpriced and nauseating concessions. Even across galaxies, timelines, and perhaps even universes, there is still something deeply familiar about a sporting arena. Smash your mother honking face in! There is also something deeply familiar about sports fans. Bleh. Such a shame having seats next to the purples. They'd be so crude and boorish, don't you agree? Chat wouldn't be nearly this loud. Usually. You find yourself here, attending a wrestling show, or a display of muscular theater, to use the troll terminology, thanks to the benevolence of one Amicia Erden. She won the tickets in a raffle and excitedly invited you to come along. You agree, with some reservations that you quickly expressed. She was quite disappointed, but eventually agreed not to kidnap you and keep you locked up as a living paint jar, since you're buddies and all. What a sweet friend. You have to admit, though, muscular theater isn't really your thing. It's as over-the-top and ridiculous as human wrestling, which makes it perfectly entertaining enough, but it's also, well, a lot more violent. Participants aren't expected to die, as far as you can tell, but you've already seen a few get wheeled off on futuristic hover stretchers with injuries you're not sure they could survive. Oh gosh, she nearly got impaled there. Every match tonight is taking place within a chain-link cage. Spikes surround it on both the outside and inside, and jut out occasionally from the places where the wires cross. The overall design, in addition to ensuring maximum bloodshed, seems to keep both the wrestlers inside and the audience out. Ironically, it might be safer this way. The current combatants are some olive blood named the Huntress, and a purple blood calling himself Culpits. Interestingly, to you, there is nothing clown-like about him at all. It is almost conspicuous how unclowny he is, if only due to the absolutely ridiculous amount of clown content you have embedded in the presence of other purples. The two fighters appear to be nearly evenly matched. The olive troll ducks and weaves amid blindingly fast punching from the purple, slashing at him with grandiose arm gestures, trying to overwhelm him with a barrage of small attacks. Every one of his punches hits hard enough to knock her down, but she always springs up before he can land a second hit. She's incredibly steady on her feet, and quicker than he. In fact, you get the distinct impression that the olive blood troll is holding back, presumably so as to not avoid inciting the crowd. Thus far, you have not seen a single match in which the lower-blooded opponent triumphed over a higher-blooded foe. I must admit, this match is a lot more tense than I was expecting. But I hope it ends soon. There's supposed to be a really famous muscular theaterist performing next. Her name is Nikki Moolah, and she hasn't ever lost a fight. I heard she even beat a Violet Blood once. Nikki Moolah, huh? Now that's a name you could befriend. She must be a big deal. She must be as big a deal as Amicia makes her out to be, because she uses her real name instead of some ridiculous made-up nonsense like John Cena or Hulk Hogan. Oh, look, he got her! He flinched. The blood finally managed to get his quarry in his clutches, and he lifts her up by the face, digging his fingers into her skull until you hear a sickening crunch. She collapses to the ground, panting heavily. She can't bring herself back to her feet, and the announcer calls the match to uproarious applause from the audience. Two trolls enter the cage and start dragging her out, while the winner basks in the audience's affection. Yellow blood looks like she'll probably live, but she's got a dent in her face that probably isn't coming out. ever. Ugh. All of a sudden, you think you really need to go, get a bathroom. You mean use the snack. You mean, you'll be right back. Oh, okay. Come back soon. This fight has given me all sorts of ideas for a new painting. You quickly make a break for it, jostling your way through the stands and toward the exit of the arena. But before you can make it, a voice calls out to you. Some slick-haired and slick-finned violet-blooded guy wearing a full suit with a tacky flame pattern on it. Hey, you alien. Me, you ask, pointing to yourself nervously. No, the other alien. You swing your head around wildly, looking for the other alien. This bit plays out predictably for a while before you both get on the same page, which is that you are the alien whose attention he wants. You looking to make a little extra buck? No, not really. You never spend all that money you want with Astaja. Okay, how about fame? Frankly, you are probably already too famous for your own good. Friendship? Oh shit, yeah. Sighing with relief, the troll leads you backstage while explaining that he is a promoter for this wrestling ring. One of the trolls that was supposed to perform tonight was eaten by some plant called a troll-devouring catchy grabber. As such, famed Muscular theatrist Nikki Moolah has been left with nobody to fight. You'll be that nobody, or somebody. An alien will bring in all sorts of media attention and controversy, which of course means big bucks for him and friendship for you. Nikki is so friendly, he says, in a tone so insincere, even your friendship-addled brain refuses to believe it. It's okay, you've met worse. He takes you into a back room, which seems to be full of performers waiting for their turn on stage. There are all sorts of trolls here, muscular and sweat-soaked, blue-blooded, and more often than not. One troll in particular stands out to you, from her severe expression to her softly pulsating robotic leg, to the fact that she's the only troll with a fully illustrated sprite. She's currently doing bicep curls with a set of spiked weights, huffing with exertion. When the promoter approaches, she looks up with a scowl. I'm busy. He begins to explain that he has brought a new challenger for her. He begins to explain that he has brought a new challenger for her to face, but she cuts him off and stands up. She isn't as tall as you expected, but damn if she isn't dense, packing more brawn than any other troll you've met. Do you want to know what happens, sister, to people who disturb my preparations? Do you want to be experienced? Or do you want to experience the bone-crushing, torso-shattering impact? These ladies right here? She flexes. God, those muscles are huge. The promoter tells her that she really doesn't need to keep up the act. There's no cameras back here. She gives them a stern look which distinctly suggests that she has never dropped kayfabe in her life and has no intention of starting now. Make it quick. Runner makes it quick. So let me get this straight. You expect me, to perform with this thing. She seems less than impressed, which you find reasonable. Magnificent lace aside, you don't really look like the wrestling type. Don't you dare insult me, sister. I'd rather you pulled Rusty from the audience and subjected me to this humiliation. Oh, but you are more than just an audience member. Frail though you may be, you have the heart and the soul of a wrestler. You have much longer than about 5 minutes, you thoroughly assure her, waited for an opening such as this, to reveal your true passion to the world. To come alive on stage and grapple and tumble with the best of them. For eons have you thirsted for the chance to sing the song of sinew, the hymn of heft, the melody of muscle. With that, you could be blessed by the opportunity to live the life of the athlete, to perform alongside your hero, to show the world that you, too, love to do the muscly thing. That you might just... Okay, I get it. She glances over at the promoter, then back to you. Does seem surprisingly articulate for a lesser being, but it is ready. Her butt clenching, flesh abrading, knuckle blistering, muscle ripping, smackdown from uptown. Yes. You nod your head confidently. Blister my knuckles and abrade my flesh, you say? Let's get the smackdown started. You've got guts, at least. She turns to the promoter and gives him a curt nod. The match is on. Then she turns back to you. Now, sister, we need to discuss the show. I will make all the decisions. You will respond adequately to the storyline I present. It will be thus: the alien invader challenges me to an exhibition match to topple the mightyarchy. They fight valiantly and show an entertaining display of strength, but in the end, as is right and proper, and the nobler hue of the hemospectrum prevails again. Words. She starts flexing and showing off for an imaginary audience, before turning back to you. Any questions, sister? Yes, actually, you do have a couple of questions. First, will you die? No. Unless you're particularly, disgustingly weak, in which case, maybe. Such is the risk we take. We who indulge in that noble and dignified of sports. I was willing to give up my leg for the craft. Is your life such a heavy price to pay for a tale that will transcend us and be remembered in the annals of muscular history? Is it, sister? Well, it's rhetorical. Right. Secondly, she says exhibition match. It is a muscular theater term, referring to a match staged for entertainment that does not affect one's ranking on the Flexa ladder. We will not be sparring in the nude. Such glorious displays of raw, chiseled physique are reserved for the intergalactic Troll Olympics. No, yeah, you got that. Mostly you were wondering if it meant the loser's head being exhibited on a spike or some other bloodthirsty nonsense. Do not denigrate this noble sport with claims of savagery. Thirdly, you're getting the sense that she's going to be playing the heel, yeah? The what? She's playing, in your own cultural equivalent, muscular theater. Performers generally fall into the category of face or heel, wherein the face is the rule-abiding and sympathetic figure the audience is meant to root for, whereas the heel takes on a more aggressive and unlikable personality. What part of my personality is unlikable? Do you dare suggest, sister, that the audience won't be roaring in thunderous applause and admiration as I yet conquer another pitiful foe? You tell her, you know what, she can be both the face and the heel, and you'll just be subjugated under my heel? Yes, exactly. Hey, Mulach, acting time's over. You're up. He jerks her head back at you and silently marches out of the room. You begin to follow, and the promoter directs you to your entrance on the other side of the arena. Wait nervously for your cue to enter. Well, folks, we had some technical difficulties, but here comes the match you've all been waiting for. Wearing the belt of champions and a leg of her own design, she's ready to gut the competition. A paragon of power, a lady of legwork, a true blue ruffian later in the making. Clap those hands and activate your screech crevices. It's Nikki Moolah. Nikki approaches the cage to thunderous applause, raising her arms and soaking in all the praise. Words. Away. She flexes and poses as the audience throws glasses of milk at her. which shatters uselessly around her steely frame. This appears to be a common ritual for her. She steps through one of the cage doors and it slams shut behind her, locking tight, with her arms crossed and her teeth firmly gritted. She awaits you. As the announcer begins a new intro speech, you step forward. And in the other corner, frail in stature, weak at the knees, wearing a perpetual look of befuddlement, we have some messed up low-blood alien. How has this absurd mockery of life not been cold yet? Perhaps only so fate could lead them to their thrashing at the bloodthirsty hands of and barbed foot of the Grand Nikki. A decent proportion of the crowd boos at you during your approach, which you find unsurprising. You have to dodge a hail of old boots and rotten fruit. Somebody throws an entire piano at you. Relatively unfazed, you enter the ring, and hear the door close behind you. So, you've come here, alien, to prove your kind superior to the unbreakable, unstoppable troll species? Yeah, you shout, your kind is so superior to trolls. And you, their emissary. Does this creature look superior to you, my theater enthusiast? She turns to the audience, throwing out a hand and gesture to you. They boo. Is this sorry specimen the best its planet can offer? More boos. You counter that. You came more than prepared to tackle the matriarchy? Yeah, that. So you claim to be prepared. But are you prepared to face these 24-inch slither noodles? She flexes so hard the announcer's sleeves explode. So be it. I'll crush you in a single blow. You're expecting a referee to start the match, but then it occurs to you that there is no referee. Somewhere in the distance, a bullhorn sounds, which is apparently the signal to begin. Without taking her eyes off you, Nikki grabs the cage wall behind her and hoists herself up effortlessly, scaling it in reverse until she reaches the top. The announcer screaming something about this move being called the Spiky Nikki. Once she finishes her ascension, Nikki deftly leaps from the edge of the cage and spins down toward you. Her body twists and writhes in multiple blindingly fast flips before her robotic leg comes slashing at you. You spend quite some time admiring her dazzling form before it occurs to you that you should probably move. You duck and roll forward, feeling the point of her leg just barely graze your scalp. The announcer shouts, "First blood!" as you feel a light trickle down the back of your neck. Some members of the crowd are booing, presumably because they just noticed the color of your blood. Between the neon lighting and distance, they probably think it's rust-colored and not a mutant red. So at least you have that going for you. What you don't have going for you is time to think about your next move, because Nikki pivots on her heel and charges at you. This time, she's going for a more theatric throw. Two powerful hands grab you and lift you over her shoulder, where you nearly gore yourself on one of her horns in your struggle to escape. You plant two hands on her back and push hard, and you are delighted to find that her grip loosens as you go tumbling over her back, landing, with a clumsy stagger, on your feet. You're not sure if she let you get away with that, for the sake of the show, or if you just slipped out of her sweat-soaked palms, but you're going to charitably assume the former. She turns to face you, grunting and baring her fangs. She charges, rearing back a fist and then sending it barreling towards your fragile human nose. You leap out of the way, only narrowly dodging it. All you've done is avoid me, coward! Where's your killer instinct? Do I scare you? Are you loath to face my true blue, muscle-bound beauty? You take this as your cue to attack, and instead you run full tilt away from her. It isn't fear carrying you, you swear. Fool! There is no running or hiding from Nikki Moolah. Stand and fight! She sprints toward you as you flee. The crowd is on tenterhooks. Nobody knows what you're doing. Least of all, you. But do you think you can pull something cool out of this? You leap at the cage wall, barely dodging the spikes that line it. Use the slight amount of give in the chain link wires to springboard you off. With an exuberant grip, you go flying towards her, arms held out with a classic clothesline maneuver. Then you collide with her own arm and whop. When you wake up, you are lying on what appears to be an exercise mat. You can feel a telltale throbbing sensation in your face that indicates a black eye. The rest of you, thankfully, doesn't feel particularly hurt. Nearby, you can hear the huff and puff of exertion. You glance over and spot Nikki training on one of those leg press machines you always saw in gyms, but never had the courage to attempt to use. She's wearing an exercise outfit, which, despite its vastly different purpose, looks almost exactly like the outfit she wore in the ring. It has all the functions a fitness aficionado would want. It's loose, it's breathable, and the R's don't have to draw a second set of sprites for it. As soon as she notices you're awake, she turns to speak to you. She doesn't even stop her workout. You're finally awake, sister. Welcome to my hive. I've spent so much time, so much precious, valuable time, waiting for you to open your eyes. Oh god, how long have you been out? About 40 minutes. Phew, that's not bad, is it? Perhaps, but only when compared to your abysmal performance in the ring. To be knocked out cold by your own attack. Wretched. I am an impossible foe to conquer, and yet even a Rusty has told me longer in the realm of mortal combat. You are weak, sister. Offensively so. She slams her foot forward with such velocity, the weight on the leg press goes flying off and leaves a dent in the floor. Grunting, she stands up and takes a long swig from a bottle, then approaches you with fire in her eyes. What do you have to say for yourself? Scale backwards, proffering only a sheepish smile. You're, sorry, you guess? I didn't bring you here for apologies. I brought you here to see your heart ignite with the will to improve. You are not a worthless being. You have a flair for the theatrics, an appreciation of sport, and a shining soul filled of only the most intractable determination. You could be so much more than you are, sister. I can make you so much more. Cast your gaze around and behold, the Bronisium. You obediently cast said gaze around. This room is massive and littered with training equipment as far as the eye can see. Much of it resembles exercise machines like the ones you had in gyms back on Earth. But there is plenty more than that looks far more alien and deadly. A treadmill which appears to throw the runner into a vat of acid if they fall off. Series of swinging axes that would look at home in a dungeon. 3 different varieties of Iron Maiden, even more horrific than the last. This is presumably Nikki's personal workout studio, but you could easily mistake it for a torture chamber. I wonder if our dad has ever considered a job as a personal trainer? Maybe you should bring it up with her. There are some who may be worthy of my expertise. It is here that I can forge them, just as I forge myself, into beings of adamantine strength. The journey will be harsh. If you are made of weaker stuff than I believe, you will perish in agony. But if your core is strong and your will of iron, yours will be an unquenchable might. She extends a hand to you, her jaw set. Join me, sister, and together we shall ascend to humescent heights of muscular perfection. There's a look in her eyes that you have never seen before, one of hope, of faith. Her arm vibrates, muscles quaking. You take it? Let's take her hand. You take her hand, staring into those hopeful eyes. Oh, to see that deep sapphire blue fill with the glow of friendship. She squeezes your hand so tightly you feel your fingers fracturing. Excellent! I knew you had the spark. Now, to make a flame, to grind and crush and pummel the flint. till it bursts into the roaring blaze of strength. Today I shall begin testing your limits. Come. She leads you to the treadmill and the deep, bubbling pit of acid directly behind it. Nervously step on. We're going to measure your speed and stamina. Run until you can run no longer. She starts up the machine. She gives you a nice, easy jogging pace at first, but the treadmill quickly begins to whir away at a blindingly fast rate. You're sprinting as hard as you can to keep up, holding desperately onto the arms of the treadmill. Come on, sister, grit your teeth. Put some thrust sinew into it. If you're not evacuating your acid tracts by the time you're done, you aren't trying hard enough. Sweat beads on your forehead as you push your legs to the limit, running like you're being chased by an angry drone. Your feet must be blurring like Sonic the fucking Hedgehog by now. The treads are moving even faster. Ever faster. You can almost feel yourself slipping. Got to hold. Ah! You lose your grip and go flying backwards, barely grasping onto the edge of the pit, dangling into it. Your toes singed by the acid. Youch! You hoist yourself up over the edge and roll to the side, hissing. Nikki stands over you, clucking her tongue. Top speed, 12 miles per hour. That's good, right? For a bronze blood. Next test. He takes you from machine to machine in a quick succession, each time commenting on your skill level. Your biceps are as terrible as Rusty's, your lungs are gold at best, your legs an unexpected cruellian, all the while taunting you, encouraging you to push yourself further. The desiccated corpse of my ancestor could do better than this. You struggle to deadlift a giant barbell made of dead monster skulls. Are you going to eject dismay fluid all night long, or are you going to woman up? You go toe-to-toe with a punching bag that shoots sonic blasts at you whenever you hit it. Shape up or get ejected on the nearest solar execution barge. You sob as she forces you to do 30 minutes of free-form jazzercise. Your jazz hands are terrible. By the time an hour is up, you are panting and huffing, desperate for a break. Nikki finally relents. Reward for staying alive thus far. Stay hydrated, sister. She tosses you one of those protein shaker bottles that gym buffs are always chugging from. You regard the mixture within curiously for a moment before throwing caution to the wind and gulping some down, which has imbibing alien substance. When has imbibing alien substance ever hurt you before? When the flavor hits your taste buds, you almost retch. Is this Gatorade mixed with milk? Nutritious and delicious. You keep chugging it. You need the liquids, foul though they be. Alright, lactose break over. Let's continue. She next leads you over to one of those Iron Maidens. This one doesn't actually look spiked. It just has a blunt, bumpy surface on the inside. Get in. What? Get in, sister. You reluctantly step inside the Iron Maiden and the doors clamp shut around you. The thing is far too tight for you, and the bumps are pressing into you from all sides, threatening to squeeze you away into nothing. You groan and push back against the walls, desperately trying to keep them from crushing you into a little human waffle. Just when you think your strength is about to give, the Maiden opens. Pressure resistance. About olive level. These results are, surprisingly, adequate. Her potential continues to shine. Good work. This halfway point seems to mark a change in her attitude as you continue to just barely preserve through everything she throws at you. Like a shake weight so powerful it leaves you shuddering intermediately through the next few exercises. Keep steady, sister. Don't lose heart on me now. A rowing machine that douses you with boiling water if you can't keep up the pace. Go, go, go! We'll make a fusion medalist of you yet. Literally being chased around a field outside by a giant toothy monster. Don't you dare allow this thing the satisfaction of feasting on your bones. After hours of this grueling work, you finally collapse. You think some of your bones are broken. Your heartbeat is coming in quick and irregular pulses. You can hardly breathe. Your vision blurs and shifts at the edges. God, you're amazed you haven't passed out yet. Get up! Glance weakly at Nikki, expecting her to be looking down at you with disdain. But instead you see her crouching down and offering you her hand, wearing a smile. Lola, you take her hand and she pulls you up to your feet. The look on her face now resembles pride, and when she claps a palm down on your shoulder, it only kind of hurts. You've done well, sister. I threw everything I had at you, and you soldiered on with head held high, even as your body broke beneath the weight. I've never seen such commitment, such strength of heart and soul, such dedication to the craft, such appreciation for the most righteous of pursuits. You are no mere workout partner. You are a workout friend. Light blossoms inside you like the neighing of a horse. This feeling of power, of strength, a bond between warriors. This is real and true. And this light will never, ever leave you. As you bask here in the satisfied and sweaty glow of a good workout, you realize that planets, universes, dimensions, realities, powers, principalities, cosmos come and go. But being swole as fuck is forever. Victory! Hesitate. You begin to offer your hand, but under her steely gaze, your resolve wavers. This all seems like a lot. Too much even. You don't know if you're made of tough stuff. If you're made of stuff tough enough for the training she seems to be offering. You would like to prove yourself, to become strong. You really would. But does she perhaps just maybe have any courses a little easier on soft and squishy creatures like yourself? The expression on her face grows terrifyingly blank. She's not scowling, or snarling, or sickened, or any other S word. She's just looking at you with the vaguest hint of disappointment dripping from her otherwise neutral expression. I see. You're like all the rest, aren't you? And worthy to receive my gifts. And willing to reach your full potential. A pathetic, simpering thing. Playing at dreams of muscular greatness it can never achieve, because it doesn't have the will for it. You're an insult to my art. You spit on my passion. Get the fuck out of my face and do not, ever, dare to return. Drinking under her steely gaze, you quickly flee her hive. Is this it for you? Is the screen going to fade to black replaced by a goofy cartoonish end card and some somber game over music composed by artistic genius James Roach? No, you refuse. You are not yet ready to call this friendship kaput. You'll show her and her draconian methods up. Damn it, it's time to get ripped. You're going to do it your way, and then return. She will be so utterly impressed by your muscular growth that she will have no choice but to admit that you are friend material. Sadly, you do not know any blue bloods characterized by an absurd love of muscles and bodybuilding. They're basically all total nerds, actually, but you can perhaps think of someone from a nearby hue who can help you. The door swings open with gusto, and you are greeted by a familiar smiling face. Oh, what an unexpected surprise! You really should have called, or texted, or did literally anything else to alert me to the fact that you wanted to visit me on such short notice when my schedule is so terribly packed. But that's alright, I can squeeze into me, I'm sure. Do come in, do come in. Step past the threshold of the door and into her office/living room. Tizius is sprawled out across the couch, lazily holding a book up to her face. It looks like she's studying, which is a relief to you, because you would have felt terrible if you had interrupted some intimate time between them. Unless studying is intimate for them, you gotta hope studying isn't intimate for anyone. Prospect terrifies. Would you like to join me and Zizzy for some grub load? It's no imposition, I promise. You absolutely would. You didn't know Stelza was a cook on top of everything else she does. Oh no, I could never. There simply isn't enough time. I'm just ordering from Door Smash. It's excellent stuff, really. It is. Zizzy had some very colorful words for the taste. It's pretty bitchin'. Yes, it certainly is. That pencil are good. friend here in for a dinner date, can you, darling? They're literally right here already. We don't need to do that. Stelza pauses and blinks, as if processing a foreign concept. Right. Sometimes Stelz forgets that you don't have to put everything on a schedule, which is fair. School feeding changes as troll. Stelza pulls up a chair and gestures for you to sit down in front of her desk. Well, that said, while we wait for the meal to arrive, let's get down to brass tacks. What brings you to my lovely abode tonight? Maybe they just want to see you. People don't always need a reason beyond that. Actually do have a reason, though. Shit. Explain to Stelza that you have a friend, more accurately, a friend to be, or perhaps acquaintance, or perhaps a person, chum adjacent quality, who you would like to impress through the pursuit of personal fitness. You recall that Stelza was jogging when you met her, so maybe she could help you put together a fitness routine, and you could do some workouts together? Her expression lights up, and she claps her hands together. Oh goodness, I would absolutely love that. My poor Zizzy is usually far too tired and far too busy. Sometimes I don't know how I manage it myself. So I'd absolutely love a partner to keep train says at running on time. Assuming, of course, you won't be late yourself and can keep up with my pace. Warning, it's blistering. Isn't it though? Thanks, sweetums. Confidently assert that, if nothing else, you can keep pace with her. Your legs have seen a lot of use. Walking, running, fleeing, prostrating yourself before clowns. You know, the usual. Excellent. Well, we'll see we'll set up some meetings, then I'll add you to my schedule. My people will call your people, etc., etc. Thanks for visiting. It's been ever so lovely to see you, Tulu. She's halfway through shoving you out the door when you remind her that she invited you in for grub loaf. She hastily and apologetically pulls you back inside. Tizzy is snickering in the background. Don't know what I'd do if I didn't have Stelz. Someone has to be the energetic one in this quadrant. The contrast is certainly a stark one. As Tizzy is considered quaffing energy drinks here and there. Perhaps they could help keep her pep up. 1. I'd probably literally die. 2. You don't want to see me on energy drinks. Nobody does. There. Spend a while longer chatting with Tizius before delivery arrives and the three of you have dinner together. The grub loaf is exactly as bitching as advertised. A wonderful meal with wonderful friends. Perfect precursor to the fitness montage yet to come. You visit Stelza multiple days a week, fitting yourself into her incredibly convoluted and packed schedule. The feat doesn't actually prove very hard. You basically only exist to spend time with friends. Her equipment is delightfully free of torture devices. Besides her step machine, she also owns quite a bit of smaller exercise paraphernalia. Aerobics, doodads, and thingamajigs, yoga mats, jogging outfits, even one of those huge bouncy exercise balls, which he bans you from using after you accidentally send it careening into a carefully organized stack of books. Stelza carries herself forward with a peppy, always-on sense of gusto that can be difficult to keep up with, but her bright smile and encouraging attitude do wonders to keep you invested. To convince you that you really can acquire the swole hood you've dreamed of. At the end of the pierogi, you are, well, you wouldn't exactly call yourself ripped, but your muscles are definitely toned in a way they previously were not. You feel hale and healthy, more energetic than ever, with a bit of extra pep in your step. Apparently, regular exercise makes you feel good, wild. You look at yourself in the reflection of an acid puddle, you flex, and watch your muscles bulge. Fuck yeah, it's time. At least, you hope it's time. Climb into your scale buggy and prepare to set the autopilot to Nikki's place. But something stills in your hand. Some strange sensation that has been slowly, surely settling in your stomach. Sense of unease, of dread. Your days of foolish ignorance are long past, and in their place are words. understanding of the universe in which you exist, the harsh laws by which it rules its inhabitants. You are beginning to fear, made the wrong choice, with all the consequences such a lapse in judgment entails. Will you ever truly befriend Nikki, or are you cursed to live, for who knows how long, in a world without her sweet smile to cure your insatiable addiction? Mayhap you need not wonder. Mayhap the time has come to look inside yourself, and know. You are going to give your chakras one real motherfucker of a blitzing. It's going to take mood music of the highest caliber. Having picked up some meditative tips from Boulder, you navigate your Skull Buggy's radio dial to Achromatic Buzz Station, which is currently playing some soothing ocean sounds. The gentle lap of water meeting the shore, the rhythmic beat of the tide, as steady as sweet and as sweet as a mother's heartbeat, is its interspersed with distant honks and weird animal chittering. Of course, because it's still fucking Alternia. Lean back into your seat, reclining it as far as it can go. You sink into the cushiony softness. Something sharp is poking at your ribs, but you try to ignore it. Close your eyes and allow the white noise to flood your senses, blocking everything else out. Oh yeah, you are really vibing this shit right now. Chakra status licks to high hell. You imagine casualty as a river. Causality. Every choice a branch. Tributaries upon tributaries. Winding ever downward, pooling in lakes of inevitability. The pit in your stomach gnaws. It all ends here. Stagnant, bitter water, reeking of death. The ocean, ever out of reach. Your soul, ever yearning for the single, solitary, sensual among all the ceaseless spillways. Take a deep breath. Water laps at your sides and tingles your ears. It has no effect. It has no effect. Damn. You take a deep breath. Water laps at your sides and tickles your ears. You are adrift. You feel the gentle bob as you float down the river. Hear the rush like a ticking clock. Gravity as time pulling you ever forward. Which river is this? To what end does it deliver you? Your breathing slows, then shudders. You feel the rapids approach. The river blurs, then shift your heart rewinds. Misses a beat's a surge of emotion, water streaking down the curve of your cheek. Your lungs ache. Which lungs? Which river? Which you? Try to focus, but the water beats at your brows, lashing your arms and legs. Too tired to swim. You try for another breath, but nothing comes. With a ultimate gasp, you sink below the surface, to the churning darkness below. Here, amidst the battering onslaught, the images come. Whirls of emotion, of sound, of thought, memories best forgotten or never known. Lakes meant to remain uncharted. The crack of thunder, rain and tearfall, a single drop of olive, the record skips. Peace through rage, the whirl of the carousel. Horses whinny as the calliope sings, the circle takes you. Searching eyes implore you. The puppet's strings stretch toward the moon. The flash of a blade, the spray of blood. Her strings are cut. The cackle of energy. The world gone grayscale. Eyes deeper than the deepest pit. A shuddering. Final breath. You are lost. Lungs burning. Water clogging every inch. You furrow your brow. Think. Think. Find your river. Coughing, wheezing, a final rattling gasp. Panic seizes you. A resounding crack, a stamp of hooves, the ricochet of gunfire, the death of one of thousands. Low, sinister honk, footfalls, loud and deep, the swing of a club, blood on the pavement. Dark, a crude smoke. Indistinct voices and crackling intercom. A lurch beneath you. Feet thrown out. Neon energy crackling green. Choking, desperate, lungs aflame. You focus your will. Where are you? Which are you? Find your river. Piercing eyes, a stern gaze, uncompromising gaze. A stern, uncompromising gaze. That. The singe of acid, crushing spikes, the body worn to nothing, all for her approval. A puff of exertion, gray muscles flex and spirits lighten. A gulp of water, the shine of smiling. A looping tape. Mirrors and mirrors. The mind, like time, infinite. The tributary splits and you, finally, drift down your chosen route. Freshwater visions, as you float toward the surface. Carefree decision. Scuttling legs in the thrum of an engine. Cityscapes passing by. Stern anger. A fist tightly clenched. Shaking, barely restrained. Hope crushed under a rigid foot. Plan poorly conceived. Or a plan poorly conceived. Desperation. Madness. Friendship at all costs. Navy blood pooling on the concrete. Troll and plan both collapsing. Cold hatred in her eyes. Tense footfalls on the pavement. Muscles strained to exhaustion. The sun rising over a desperate chase. Escape. Sweet bliss. Soon to shatter. Blood and bone turn to steel. Fruitless assistance. Your clothing, your soul, stained with blood. No more. No more. One more step. One more desperate step. One foot after another in the endless chase. Drenched in fear. In sweat. Hidden, but not well enough. The curtains fall. One final heartbeat at the end of all things. You emerge from beneath the surface with a gasp, coughing up water, and oh, it's just you, sitting in your sky buggy. Gentle white noise still playing on the radio. Take a moment to catch your breath. Your heart thumping against your ribcage like it wants to crawl out and beat you senseless for objecting it to all that horseshit. Phew, okay, enough meditating for one day. Enough meditation for... You think you're just going to reach over and kind of set the autopilot to Stelz's house instead of Nikki's. Yeah. You have no idea if this will avert or merely delay some horrifying and grisly end or another, but it's better than the alternative. And besides, you really want some more of that bitchin' grub loaf. Actually, this is starting to sound a little much for you. You aren't sure you can quite match her, enthusiasm for the craft. Who do you think you are, sister? You, who has the globes to step to me. You come into my dressing room with those flimsy, stringy, insultingly puny arms of yours. Look me in my eyes and challenge me to a match. Beg for the chance to spar with me, and then cluck out like the pathetic alien whelp you are. Get out of my sight. Head bowed low, you retreat to the safety, comfort, and friendless expanse that is the audience. You can't even bear to look at Nikki as when she goes out and performs. You're so saddened by the loss of a potential chum. Well, to that, and it's kind of grisly watching her pull low blood challengers from the audience and smash their faces into the spikes. Jesus. well, that is all for this time on HiveSwap FriendSim. If you liked the video, like it, and if you want to see more of my content, subscribe. And yeah, have a good day, and do what you do best.